All right, sports fans, or what do I call you? Thrill seekers. Hi, how you doing? I'm back in München, Germany, Munich, and tomorrow I am on my way to Paris, where I will speak at Librairie Almora. I'm not sure. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And if I'm doing it right, there'll be a picture on your screen that'll show you where and when I'll be. So be there or be square if you're in France. And yesterday, I finished up my retreat with Benedictushof, the 2021 retreat. It was a really good retreat. There were 30, I think 34 people there at the height of the retreat, and then about four people had to leave for other commitments before we were finished, and so we ended up with like 30 people, which is still more than I usually have. So that was really nice to see. So thank you very much for coming out there for that. And as some of you know, I've been putting new old stuff on my blog, which is hardcorezen.info. Been putting chapters from two different books that I started but failed to write. And I've been doing something now new for my Patreon subscribers. It's a Patreon exclusive. I put this morning the first four chapters of a novel that I tried to write at the beginning of last year and got derailed and decided to write something else. But when I went back and looked at this novel, I thought, maybe there's something good about this novel. So if you're a Patreon supporter, go look at the Patreon page, my Patreon page now, and tell me what you think of this novel. It's called Hello UFO Aliens, and I wrote four brief chapters. Each chapter is only about 1,000 words. So when I say four chapters, I'm talking about something that's the length of about one chapter of a normal book. Anyway, go take a look at that and tell me what you think, and tell me if you think I should finish it. And also, I did a little memorial service yesterday for my friend Franz Kummer. I tried to say friend and Franz. Well, he was my friend and he was Franz. That was really nice with his wife and some friends. And don't know much I can say about that, but that was it was really good to be able to do a memorial service for my friend who had cancer and passed away. I think in August, fairly recently. Anyway, I missed his last days, but we emailed each other and Skyped. Anyway, during the retreat in Benedictushof, I spoke about Hyakujo's fox. So, for some of you who might not be familiar with the koan Hyakujo's fox, I have pulled up a version, I hope. Yeah, here we go. And I'll read it to you. It's a very famous Zen story, and I've written about it in my book, It Came From Beyond Zen. I wrote two chapters about Hyakujo's fox, and I believe I also covered it in my book, Sit Down and Shut Up. And here's the story. Whenever Hyakujo Osho, he's a famous Zen master of the past, delivered a certain series of sermons, an old man always followed the monks to the main hall and listened to him. When the monks left the hall, the old man would also leave. One day, however, he remained behind, and Hyakujo asked him, "Who are you standing here before me?" The old man replied, "I am not a human being." In the old days of Kashapa Buddha, which would be about 2 million years ago, it's a long, long time ago, I was a head monk living here on this mountain. So I was Hyakujo. Hyakujo is named after the mountain, so that's kind of important. Anyway, here we go. One day a student asked me, "Does a man of enlightenment fall under the yoke of causation or not?" This is a version from a translation of the Mumon Khan. Not my favorite version, but it's good enough. I answered, "No, he does not." Since then, I've been doomed to undergo 500 rebirths as a fox. I beg you now to give me the turning word to release me from my life as a fox. Tell me, does a man of enlightenment fall under the yoke of causation or not? Hyakujo answered, he does not ignore causation. Actually, it says fumai inga, not unclear about causation. So, interesting translation. That's what they give it. No sooner had the old man heard these words than he was enlightened. Making his bows, he said, "I am emancipated from my life as a fox. I shall remain on this mountain. I have a favor to ask of you. Would you please bury my body as that of a dead monk?" Hyakujo had the director of the monks strike with the gavel and inform everyone that after the midday meal there would be a funeral service for a dead monk. The monks wondered at this, saying, "Everyone is in good health. Nobody is in the sick ward. What does this mean?" After the meal, Hyakujo led the monks to the foot of a rock on the far side of the mountain, and with his staff poked out the body of a dead fox and performed the ceremony of cremation. That evening, he ascended the rostrum and told the monks the whole story. Obaku, who was also a very famous Zen master who Dogen praises to the skies, who is also called Huangpo, and I did a video a while ago about Huangpo. I actually think I did more than one video about Huangpo, so go back and look at those. That's the same person as Obaku. Obaku thereupon asked Hyakujo. The old man gave the wrong answer and was doomed to be a fox for 500 rebirths. Now suppose he had given the right answer, what would have happened then? Hyakujo said, "Come here and I will tell you." Obaku went up to Hyakujo and boxed his ears. That's what this translation says, but there's nothing in the Chinese, which I can see right here, about boxing ears. It just says one slap, and usually it's a slap. Boxing ears, I don't know why they said that. Hyakujo clapped his hands with a laugh and exclaimed, "I was thinking that the barbarian is a way of referring to a Bodhidharma who brought Buddhism or brought Zen Buddhism to China. I was thinking that the barbarian had a red beard, but now I see before me the red-bearded barbarian himself." Also an interesting translation, because usually it says, "I was thinking Bodhidharma had a red beard, but you just told me the man with the red beard is Bodhidharma." The Chinese characters are a little ambiguous, as they often are, and could be read either way. So I talked a lot about that, and I'm planning to put that up on my podcast soon. I recorded the talks, and so watch my podcast, not watch it, but listen to my podcast, and one of these days I'll get it up there once I have the time to sit down and edit it all together. Should be soon. I think I can do it pretty soon. But I talked a lot about that, and it's a really, really interesting koan. It's one that I first heard when I first started studying Buddhism. It was in a book called Buddha is the Center of Gravity by Joshu Sasaki Roshi. And I read that, one of the first Zen books I ever read. It always stuck with me. Dogen does 2 different commentaries on it in Shobo Genzo. If you go to the Wikipedia page, they will tell you that Dogen thought one way and then completely changed his mind and rewrote it another way. I don't think so. I don't think Dogen changed his mind at all. I think he talked about 2 different and contradictory aspects of the koan in 2 different chapters of Shobo Genzo, and they're both very interesting, and I think they both stand as, I don't think either one of them is Dogen's final opinion on it. And for that matter, I've written about it, and I don't think that what I wrote about it is my final opinion. Don't Sit Down and Shut Up, which I think has a thing about Hyakujo's fox in it. Came out in 2007. A lot has happened then, and I think I would probably describe it differently, or my commentary on the koan would be different nowadays. But that doesn't mean I repudiate or think that my koan, my commentary was bad. Back in 2007, it was just the 2007 commentary. Dogen talks about this when he talks about whether the answer that the old man gave when he said an enlightened person doesn't fall into cause and effect, when he says whether that is right or wrong, and he says something that's right in the age of Kashyapa Buddha millions of years ago might not be right in the age of Shakyamuni Buddha, meaning that there are different situations that call for different answers, and so I think that's why there are often contradictory answers to this koan. So it was really interesting. There's so much in this. I think I just said that. There's a lot about form and emptiness. There's a lot about free will and determinism, what it means to be human, the whole subject and object thing, whether there are subjects and objects at all, one of these Zen things. And time. Time is kind of referenced in there when he talks about how long ago he was the monk on this mountain. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my note. Here is a quote I found from Dining Katagiri, which I shared with the group in Benedictushof, and it's a bit long, but I'm going to give it all to you. But it's Dining Katagiri talking about time, and it was a little riff I went on because I talked about time when I talked to the people at Benedictushof. So here's what Katagiri Roshi had to say. In Buddhism, we say that everything is the lively energy of life. When that universal energy touches down at the intersection of time and space, it temporarily appears as form, the form of a human being, the form of a tree, the form of a bird or a pebble. So pebbles possess a strong power. Trees are powerful, birds are powerful, and human beings are powerful. All beings are powerful because they are nothing but the lively energy of life. Each one of us is a particular being who is located at the intersection of time and space. All beings exist by being right here, right now. If you understand time and space, then you can understand real reality, the place where time and space are perfectly unified. So the place where time and space are perfectly unified is you. You right here listening to this little talk. And yeah, there's so much I could say about the Fox koan, but I'm not going to try to squeeze it all into one little video. But I think it's something that I highly recommend people go and look at. And just to kind of leave you with something, this comes from Sasaki Roshi's commentary on the Fox koan, but it might seem unrelated, but I think it's kind of related, but it doesn't exactly say why it's related, but I'm going to read it because I love this quote. To know the objective world completely is impossible, but when you experience the objective world as yourself, then your consciousness becomes perfect and you don't need to know. You don't need to know. God or Brahma do not exist as objects. Shakyamuni Buddha taught that God, Brahma, objects, everything is yourself. He said that the desire to know the objective world comes from knowing that the objective world is yourself, the objective world being the world out there. From this place, knowing the objective world is knowing yourself perfectly. From another point of view, the objective world has everything you don't have. Hence, there is a desire to know and understand it, which is the desire to know yourself. So Shakyamuni Buddha said that if you want to know everything perfectly, you must throw yourself completely into the objective world and become the objective world itself. To know perfectly is to experience. After 6 years of practice, Shakyamuni realized this state and said, everything is illuminating as Buddha, as myself. Everything is Buddha means that everything has the same thing. Everything has Buddha. Everything is standing on one base. Everything lives in one world. Shakyamuni calls that basis emptiness. So there you go. That's some crazy philosophical stuff for you. I'm gonna flash on out of here. Get ready for my trip to France tomorrow, and maybe I'll be able to vlog or make a video for you from France. We'll see if I'm able to do that or not. But until then, oh, that's it. I'm still supported by your donations. I got paid for the Benedictushof retreat, and that was nice. Actually, I haven't got the money yet, but I'm still supported mainly by your donations, even though I get paid for these retreats. Remember, I'm not doing very many retreats, but the ones I'm doing are good, and I like it, so I'm still supported by your donations. So if you want to donate, go to the URL you're seeing here. If you're not seeing it, it is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. You'll find links to my Patreon and PayPal accounts. That's my way of making a living. I really appreciate you donating, but as always, this is offered for free. You don't have to donate if you don't want to donate. So we'll see you next time. Have a good time all the time. Bye.